To get rid of those pesky ads, request stories, listen to unlisted and bonus episodes, and to chat with the gang, support us by clicking the description link.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Talk Murder Me podcast. My name is John. I'm sitting here with Jen and Nicole, and today I got a crazy story for everyone. And I'm really excited about this. We're actually going to Brazil today. But if you like this episode, check out our sister podcast, Among the Dirt and Trees, our friend in Brienne in Colorado. She's doing an excellent job. She covers true crime that happens out in nature. And if you're interested, like, for instance, in the Lake Mead bodies that are being uncovered, she did a really good episode on that, and which is kind of new in the news. And she does some really interesting cases that you won't hear anywhere else. So check that out. You can also subscribe to this podcast, Talk Murder Me, on any podcasting app. If you want to support us and see our unlisted live streams, go to patreon.com/talkmurder. I'm also putting all these photos on talkmurder.com, and you can see all of those. And that's the site that I put all the photos on. So go there for the episodes. But that's all I have, and you guys know about the trivia. So,
all right, this one is for Shram.
Surprise shots, surprise shots. We don't know what they are because they're a surprise. Cheers, y'all.
Cheers.
Water?
Shram requested water. Thanks, Shram.
What the? I could smell it.
You're
I was
like,
what?
I
was like, what the? And then I texted, I was like, wait, water?
Wait, at first when you reacted, I was like, shit, were we not supposed to say that out loud that it was water?
Was this supposed to be a fake shot?
I was going to be fucking pissed.
I will say, God. If anyone requests fucking like Everclear or grain alcohol again, I am going to put water in there instead. Or maybe like vodka.
No, don't do that shit.
That one time, remember we like burned our esophagus?
No, it doesn't matter, man. They pay for shots.
They do.
That was awful.
But it was terrible. And if you are a kind human being, you would not do that to us again.
That was brutal.
However, we do know the secret to Bailey's shots now, so.
Yeah. Shake with ice. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Let's not make that mistake again. Is Martin on this one? I know he was on last live chat, but I'm going to need his request coming up soon, too.
Tram says she cares about our wallets and livers.
I appreciate that, Tram.
Tonight, we are going to Brazil. This is a crazy, crazy case right here. We're talking about this guy. Let me know if you've seen this guy before, if anyone's seen this guy before or knows anything about him. Can you describe what this guy looks like?
He looks like a fighter.
I was going to say that, too.
Does he look like a killer?
I mean, potentially.
How many people do you think he's killed?
Double digits.
Tonight we're talking about Pedrinho Matador.
Oh.
So this is the book that I read. Dude, I tried to find this book everywhere for so long. It's literally not on the internet. I found it at one of these sites, and like I said, I had to pay for it with a fake credit card. And this is the book that Nicole's going to be reading from tonight. Pedrinho Matador, Biografia. And it is an autobiography, but this guy's name is Pedro, obviously, but Pedrinho is kind of like the...
Son of, isn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of like the...
or Ito.
Yeah.
At the end
it's
of
like
Spanish.
An Ito is, you know...
Or Ita.
Little Pedro.
And Matador means, you guys know what that means, right?
It's a bullfighter.
There you go. So, well, it's a bull, I think. I don't know. Pedrinho Matador, Biografia. And this book is completely in Portuguese, and it is nuts. Nuts. All right, tonight we're talking about Pedrinho Matador. I don't know if I pronounced his name right.
No, that's right.
Here's another photo of him right here. So kind of, this is when he's older. Obviously, he's tatted up. This guy has one story to tell, and it is nuts. So you guys stay with me. We're actually starting on May 24th, 1973. This story is going to revolve a lot around this man's father, whose name is Pedro as well. We're going to do a full circle back to the father at the end of this episode. But the best way that I thought to map this out is the way that I'm doing now. So we're starting May 24th, 1973. We're actually starting when he is transferred to the Casa de Detenção Carandial, a Brazilian prison. And if you're in America, it ain't nothing like what you'll see in America. This is the This is the prison here. It's
Dirty.
dirty. The food is often rotten. A lot of the inmates die because they eat rotten food. He would talk about at one point that the lunch boxes that they give you, you would open it up and there's flies coming out of it. And sometimes it's like you have to weigh on how hungry you are to whether you want to get sick or not, because you know if you'll eat it, you'll get sick and possibly die. So a lot of times you just have to go hungry, and a lot of inmates do die because the prison system is so subpar. But at this detention facility, there were 9,000 prisoners. And
Wow.
this is towards the end of my story, but we are going full circle. And this is May 24th, 1973. This man's sentencing added up to more than 100 years. I think it was like 480 or something like that.
Wow.
We'll get to it. But robbery, theft, drug trafficking, and over 50 murders he was convicted with. He's killed over 100, well over 100, but he was actually tried and convicted for 50. He was sent to prison, and this man has many enemies waiting there. A lot of people that want him dead. And on the flip side to that, there was a lot of people who respected this guy and would never mess with him because he's such a killer. So when he goes to prison, the guards actually stop the van when they transfer him to this new prison, and they say, listen, you have a choice here. We can put you in isolation since you have so many enemies, or you can go to general population where you're probably going to get shanked the first day you're there because you have so many enemies and you're so well known. He says, quote, I'm going with the other prisoners. I'm a man, and I'd rather die inside there as a man fighting than join with these trash and rapists, end quote. So like the isolated prisoners are usually the child molesters and the rapists and stuff like that.
Okay.
He goes into general population. All right. You'll see why here in a second. But as soon as he gets in this prison, he's looking for a chance to escape. Not because he's scared or anything, but he wants to be free, obviously, like everyone. He is looking for a chance to escape.
Is the security in these prisons like super intense?
No, there's usually only 2 guards per the day or whatever. And even though the prisoners are locked up, there have been instances, and he was involved in one where it was a prison riot, like the one we covered in New Mexico.
Yeah.
But in this one, 130 inmates died. So that's the type of prison we're going to now. He's looking for a chance to escape, but all of a sudden, something happens. His own father, Pedro, gets sent to that same prison. And I'm going to tell you why here in a little bit. But I will tell you that for little Pedro, he stopped looking for an escape, and he was hell-bent on seeing his father, who was in the same prison. Now, the prison is pretty big, and they're in different sections of the prison. To get to that prison, he would have to get the key somehow and visit his father, who was also on the other end of the prison in an isolated cell. So it's a lot of work, but he put his mind to it, and he was going to go see his father. 1973, on May 24th, he, using a shank that he made out of a spoon and aluminum foil, what they would do is they would take a spoon from the cafeteria, aluminum foil, and they would grind it down until it makes a blade. And using that shank, he held 2 guards as hostages, and he threw them in his own cell. He took their keys. He locked these guards inside of his own cell. Now, and there's only 2 guards in his prison. So now he's not only safe to go see his father, even though he's got to go through multiple locked doors, but he does have the keys. You know, these guards are locked safely in this cell. He had no beef with these guards or anything. He just wanted to go see his father. He runs through this entire prison with these keys, and everybody, all the other inmates, all 9,000 are looking out their cells. They know what this man is doing, and they know why he's going to see his father. They know why. And I'll tell you guys in a little bit why he did this. But he runs all the way down, opening all these gates. He's got the keys to the prison. He can escape.
Yeah.
He can easily escape. Or maybe he's going to get his father so both of them can escape. I mean, this isn't like maximum security over here with all kinds of fingerprints and keypads. I mean, this is pretty bare bones, especially in 1973. He can get away. But instead, he goes and visits his father. His father was in isolation. He finally gets there. He sees his son, and the father backs away a little bit. And then Pedro is looking for that key, that isolation cell key. He tries a couple. They don't work. Finally, after a few minutes, he finds the right key for this father's cell, and he turns it and unlocks that cell and opens the door. And then he walks towards his father. So we're going to come full circle back to that. Once you guys know who this guy is, you'll understand without me even telling you why he risked all this to go see his father. Okay. But right now we're going to kind of jump back to when he was a child and go through his childhood.
Okay.
What do you guys think?
Sounds good so far.
So be thinking the whole time, like, why would this guy be hell-bent on not escaping but seeing his own father?
I have a theory.
What?
That he kills his father. Dun, dun, dun.
I can remember my childhood well. I didn't have luxury, but I was a very happy child. I lived in a house made of wood. My father was an honest and hardworking man.
Oh, so his house was a woody.
My father was an alcoholic. When he drank, he became aggressive and mistreated her. He tried to beat my mother, but sometimes he couldn't because she was a tall, strong woman.
Pedrinho, growing up, oldest son of 7 siblings. He grew up poor, obviously, and he worked after school. A lot of times even skipping school so he can work to bring in money. He worked in a butcher shop with his grandfather, and his grandfather actually had this big old contraption where he would put coconuts in there and it would make liquor. So they would sell liquor together.
I've got a lovely bunch of coconuts. There they are, ascending in a row.
His grandfather not only taught him how to fight and how to live, but he looked up to his grandfather more than anything else. This is a childhood photo, and I'll show you many photos. These photos were in the book, and they didn't have any captions. So
Okay.
a lot of times I don't know what the fuck I'm looking at, to be honest. There's like no captions with any of the photos here at all. His grandfather teaches him how to defend himself and fight. His grandfather actually loved him a lot. In the butcher shop where Pedrinho would work after school is where he learned to use a knife. And that knife became the most important part of his life growing up, even at an early age. When he was sentenced to prison, he was only 19, okay? After killing hundreds of people.
By age 19?
Yeah, so you got to imagine that knife, because he didn't have a gun or anything, would be his best friend.
Little did I know that over the years, a knife would become my best friend.
So he learned how to use a knife working in the butcher shop, deboning oxes and stuff like that. He was, like a lot of the Brazilian population, very religious. His grandmother was religious. His mother was religious. However, his grandmother did get into witch doctoring at one point, which kind of divided the family. And Pedrinho did kind of shift towards the witch doctor lifestyle. He started drinking ox blood and participating in animal sacrifices and stuff like this. Now, this is when he was 12 years old, okay? I think this is his house. Like I said, there was no captions in any of these photos. So, you know, I mean, I guess it's his house, but
Like a hut.
there was literally no translations or no captions on anything, so I literally don't know. But now, let's go to when he's 14 years old, because this is the first time that he's going to actually kill someone.
At 14? I guess you have to start young if you're in prison by 19.
Yeah.
At 14 years old, he meets a distant cousin. Little Pedro was 14 at the time, and his older cousin, he is 18, 19 years old, and he's kind of more of a distant cousin. He only comes around a little bit, and the transportation here in this part of Brazil, what they were using was horseback.
Okay.
So there weren't cars. They sure as hell didn't own a car. It was all horses. And this is 1970s, right?
Mm-hmm. So it must have been very rural.
There was an argument at one point between him, little Pedro, and his older cousin. It was something along the lines of he used the horse of the cousin without asking permission, something like that. It translated to something like that. Either way, I know there was an argument, and the older cousin beat the shit out of little Pedro. Now, Pedro's grandfather had taught him how to fight. So right there was a spot of embarrassment for Pedro, because he comes home with a black eye and he's crying and he's all beat up and he didn't do anything to defend himself. And he knows the grandfather would be disappointed that he didn't do anything to defend himself. So that's when he started to really plan here. So anyway, a few days go by and he sees the cousin again. And And at this point, they are by a sugar cane machine. This is it right here. I don't know how else to describe it. They take sugar cane and break it down into sugar. So can you kind of describe that? It's a huge metal machine. It's basically a few big gears. It looks pretty dangerous.
It looks like prehistoric almost. And when you think of on those bars there, would someone be pushing those bars to twist the other thing?
You know what really grinds my gears?
I say that all the time.
Somebody at work said that to me the other day.
All you could think of was Family Guy.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure that's where they got it from, but it's really funny.
You know what really grinds my gears?
What? At the time, the sugar cane grinders were not like the ones we have today. Without much experience of anything, I thought a body could pass through that grinder.
Oh.
So
Yes, I'm sure it could.
so let me look at this grinder. He says, quote, "I thought a body could pass through this grinder." He's 14.
That is freaking brutal. Because because he's thinking where the two rolls come together.
It can pass through, but spaghetti.
Oh, God. It reminds me of the Play-Doh things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, and I'm sure that's exactly what it was like.
So, all right. This is his own words from the book. I don't know how else to preface this.
I grabbed him and pushed him into the cane grinder. I thought his whole body would pass through the grinder, just like a cane does. I stood there watching, waiting for the body to pass. But it didn't. It just made noise.
Now, the older cousin, the one that beat him up a few days before, they're there again. That older cousin's at Pedro's house again and still pushing him around. But there's a sugarcane grinder, like I showed you, right outside the house. And not only is his cousin there, but his cousin's goons, because the cousin was kind of into drugs and, selling drugs. So he's got his own goon squad.
Right.
And he's there just kind of messing with Pedro again, pushing him around. What you gonna do? Don't be a little bitch type of shit. And Pedro was sick of it, man. He was sick of disappointing his grandfather by not sticking up for himself. That all of a sudden he waits till his cousin gets distracted and they're by that cane grinder. And Pedro's actually working the cane grinder anyway, trying to, that's what he does. And all of a sudden the cousin gets distracted and he pushes him in there into the rolling apparatus of this sugar cane grinder. And he says, "I thought his body would pass through, but it didn't. It just made a noise." The body didn't actually pass through, obviously, all the way at least. The arm was stuck in there, flattened and protruding out the other side like a plate of spaghetti, and he was stuck. All of a sudden, like I said, that cousin and his goons, the cousin's goons, hear this ruckus and the screaming. He's screaming, "Oh, God, what the fuck? What the fuck? Get me out of here!" Ah!
Except in Portuguese.
Yeah.
No.
That's Spanish for now, but okay.
So now the cousin's friends are running over to kill him.
Yeah.
Okay?
And he kills all of them.
But he is not, the older cousin's not dead. His arm is just spaghettified at this point. So he's got to do something and do something quick.
I took the machete and started cutting him all over with the desire of revenge for what he did to me. It was blood everywhere until when I cut off his head, it fell into the machine and kept screeching and screeching.
So the cousin now is stuck. His arm is stuck in this machine. So little Pedro pulls out this machete. The goons are running over. Hey! He takes that machete and just starts slicing the cousin.
Oh.
Slicing them all over, trying to kill him. Eventually, he just slices his head off. The head falls into the cane grinder. That's at 14 years old. At 14. Damn. I mean, that shit didn't happen to me till I was like at least 21.
That's like the age of my students.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
The grandfather runs out, luckily, and stops the goons and everything else, and they address what just happened. The police do show up. They put 14-year-old Pedrino in handcuffs, and they take him to the police station. He's released 24 hours later because he's 14 years old. What the fuck? And he thought a body could go through there.
Wow. Is his English name Lil Petey?
Yeah, I guess so.
Ah.
Why, has someone heard this story before?
I think Ashley has. She had a couple of trivia questions for a little Petey.
Like what?
Well, I'm not gonna.
tell
I'm
me.
not gonna drop him in there.
No, I wanna.
It had to do with some people that he may have killed in prison.
Don't spoil it.
That's why I'm not saying anything.
All right. Well, what'd she say?
She just asked, "Is this little Petey?"
Where'd you hear this shit at? Huh? Fucking My Favorite Murder.
Oh, can you stop?
Those other podcasts
Stop getting so
suck,
butthurt that other people may cover a story.
Who said that she heard a podcast about it? Maybe she read something or saw a film.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. They ain't no film about this. This is real life.
She said she found it herself.
See?
All right. So the question was, is he embellishing things? Stuff like this, it was documented, obviously, because police reports and stuff. The tone of the book, even though I don't speak Portuguese, seems to me like he feels sorry for a lot of things and he's real honest. But, who knows? I don't know. That's a good question. So I'm going to go through his background a little bit and then we'll do another murder. There's not much background, so we're basically jumping into another murder. He was born in Santa Rita on October 30th. He was a son of Emanuela and Pedro. Obviously, that's why he's Pedrino. Mm-hmm. He was eventually given the name Malandros. I don't even know what that means. I never looked that up.
Malandros?
Malandros. I don't know. A young criminal, delinquent punk thug.
Yeah, that's appropriate for him.
Yeah,
I would say
Malandros.
so.
Oh, that makes sense. All right. When his mother, Emanuela, was pregnant, the husband actually didn't marry her until little Pedrino, was 12 years old. But when she was pregnant, the husband would get real drunk, and he's an alcoholic. And he would come home from work, get real drunk. And one time, he actually kicked his pregnant wife, Emanuela, in the stomach.
Oh.
And sank in the baby's skull, Pedrino's skull. It sank it in so much, and if you look, you can still see the scar from where his father had kicked the belly. His head had sunken in, and you can still see the large scar there. So he said, he would go on to say, quote, "How can someone beat a pregnant woman? My God." Now, this story is a lot about his father. He has a love and hate relationship with his father. At 15, his father, who was working for the city mayor's office, I couldn't tell exactly what his job was fired. He was fired for theft, even though there was no proof that he stole anything. And all I could find out about the job was that he worked at City Hall. His father was fired at the City Hall for theft, and Pedrino would say that this was the saddest day of his father's life. He immediately saw a change in his father, a negative change, and not only that, there was no proof that he stole anything.
I was sent home with no rights, accused of stealing from the school. It wasn't me. Believe me, I would never steal from the school, much less dirty our family's name. We are poor, yes, but we don't need to steal anything from anyone, the father says.
So I think he was just fired just because. So anyway, now that the father is fired from his job, he's unemployed, and he's got 8 kids with no source of income coming in to take care of, the mother starts taking on cleaning jobs while she was pregnant. And Pedrino decided to take revenge on the mayor of the city because the mayor fired his father without any probable cause and no proof whatsoever. It was just all of a sudden fired him, which completely upended the family and the family finances.
It's almost like The Princess Bride. My name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die.
Pedrino goes into his grandfather's shed and he retrieves this right here. This is a little 22-shot rifle. And this is the same one, I think. I mean, that's why he would put it in the book. He retrieves this rifle. He also grabs a machete and an orange-green rucksack and fills it with ammunition. And he plans his revenge. He's going to kill the mayor.
So it sounds like, I mean, he took the rifle with him, but the machete is the second. Like, it's like this is the second time he's used a machete.
So he decides he's going to kill the mayor, but first he's going to hide out. And, they're real religious in this parts of Brazil. And he wanted to go up in the mountains, clear his head, and maybe have a spiritual intervention or something to give him direction for the right thing to do. So he travels up into the mountains in Brazil for 30 days. He survives up there, and he's shooting animals and eating and camping out, stuff like that, while he decides what to do.
Arriving at the mountain, I set up my camp so that no one could find me for about 30 days. My friends were the animals, monkeys, rabbits, snakes, and jaguars. They stayed close to me, surrounded me, but they didn't do me any harm.
So he only killed what he was going to eat for 30 days. And on the last night, he gets this inspiration and he goes down to the mayor's home. He looks in the mayor's home and is different different from all the people that the mayor is supposed to be serving in the community because he has a nice gated house and a nice huge house with 2-story balcony, stuff like that. That kind of rubbed them the wrong way. Pedrinho hides out in the bushes and waits for the mayor to pull up into his home to open the gate. And even the car he was driving was for the rich, he would say. He said, quote, in a car that only the rich had, end quote. The mayor gets out of this car. He opens the gate. And that's when Pedrinho steps out of the bush that he's been hiding in because he's going to kill the mayor. He's going to kill the mayor of the city. All right. At 15.
Like, what?
He waited till this mayor turns around. He made sure the mayor looked into his eyes and knew exactly who he was. He was the son of the man that he fired for no reason. And as soon as he looked into his eyes, he fires 2 shots. Both hit him. Boom. Right in the head. The mayor's dead. Right after that, the mayor's son, who was on the 2nd floor of the house, runs out onto the balcony, wondering what's going on. That son grabs his own rifle and starts firing shots at little Pedrinho. So at that point, Pedro waits until the son has to reload, and then he steps out behind the mayor's car, which he was hiding behind, and he pulls that rifle up, and he gets that man in a perfect sight. Headshot from 100 meters away. He's going to kill him, and right when he's about to pull the trigger, he says the following, quote, I pointed the gun at him, but I didn't shoot. My war wasn't with him. It was with his father. I thought that was really important to put in this story because it really shows you who this guy is. He only kills who needs to be killed, and he's killed 100 or so people.
Whoa.
So he's like Robin Hood, but instead of giving to the poor, he kills people.
Yeah. He runs into the woods after that, waits several days. The police are looking for him. And then he escapes completely. And at 15, he arrives in another city, Moga das Cruzes. All right. So crazy. He's already killed 2 people, including the mayor. He's killed his mayor. I mean, pretty crazy lifestyle so far. He meets a woman there, an older woman. She's almost 40 years old. Botina, Botinha, Botina. She was a drug dealer and a hustler. And at 15, she takes him in at only 15 and takes care of him. And that was kind of like his first love or whatever. This is the mayor right here, shot.
Wow.
Oh.
So kind of cool.
Yeah.
They didn't even bother to put a sheet or anything on him.
Well, this is poor Brazil. The mayor apparently was very crooked. So Botina, who he meets, who was taking care of him.
And how old did you say she was?
I think she was like 40 or something. All I would say was she was an older woman. So, but she was a drug dealer and dealing in, in prostitution stuff. 3 of her friends got really jealous of Pedrinho and decided to kill him for no good reason. Now, a lot of people tried to kill this guy over his lifetime. All right. But Botina, who really cared for Pedrinho, warns him and says, listen, I can't stop this from happening, but you just need to be ready. All right. Just be ready for this to happen. So one day the 3 friends come and they were like, hey, let's go to the lake. Let's go fishing. And little Pedrinho's like, okay. He puts a revolver in his pocket, kind of conceals it, and they go out. So it's just Pedrinho at 15 years old and these 3 older men who have an intent to kill him. They go to the lake. As they're walking down, Pedrinho says, I got to take a piss right quick. Y'all just go ahead. That was a ruse. So he did that so they can get in front of him, so they can pass, and then he can take his shot because he's going to kill all of them. A 15-year, think about it.
I know. I'm trying to keep in mind his age as you're going through this.
A 15-year-old, a fucking 15-year-old with 1 gun facing 3 older men, all with their own guns, and he's just like, I'm gonna fucking do it.
I feel like is he like a shooting prodigy? Like, is he like pew, 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 like flipping his guns with his finger, twirling them and shit? That's like what I'm picturing.
Twirling his...
Yeah, like I just picture him to be like a...
I told you, this story's nuts.
John Wayne
here's
or-
here's the thing. It's different. And I didn't go into the religion part, but at this point, he's already had attempts on his life. There is a higher power watching over this man, and he will definitely learn that later because there have been hundreds of attempts to kill this guy. There is something, an angel or whatever, that is protecting him.
Or that's what does he believe that about himself?
You believe it, achieve it. I mean, that shit's real to him. You know, the older men walk by. Pedro comes out, taking a piss, puts his dick back in his pants, pulls out that revolver, shoots one of them right in the back of the head. The other two turn around like, what the fuck? So now you got one dead. They all hide behind trees. Pedro jumps in this little gully, this little ditch, and now there's a firefight between two of him and one of him. And he ends up killing another one of them and puts the other one in the hospital.
This is playing out like a movie in my head, honestly.
It is a fucking movie.
Yeah.
It's crazy. After this, in this city of Moga das Cruces, he had a reputation that no one has ever had before or will ever have again. He was known as Pedrinho de Cachuchierra, which cachuchierra is this right here. That's what this word means. This is what he would carry around.
Oh, is that
a shotgun?
It's a beautiful shotgun.
Yeah.
He would carry around a small barreled shotgun everywhere he went, and that's where he got that name from. Now,
Notice how John rolled his tongue on those. He was like, I can't do that.
At 15 years old, he is carrying this 12-inch double-barrel shotgun, and he starts running the streets. Everyone is scared of this guy. If you guys seen this show called The Wire, this guy is Omar.
Yeah.
In literal form, because not only is he carrying the shotgun and everyone's scared as hell of little Pedrinho de Cartuera, he also becomes a stick-up boy. I don't know the term in Brazil and Portuguese, but he would surprise drug dealers. Like, ha, it's me, bitch. And then pull out the shotgun and rob them, which is exactly what Omar was doing on The Wire.
Yeah.
He got a crew together and they were all stick-up boys. This is some of the drugs that he would steal right here. So already he's kind of doing he's not hurting innocent people. He's going after already bad people. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
He would also find rich people and that are transporting a bunch of rice. And he would hold up the truck of rice and then deliver the rice to the poor. Literally Robin Hood.
Wow.
But you can see how he made a lot of enemies, right?
Yeah.
You guys like this?
Oh, yeah. He's making enemies of people he's robbing from, killing, and other people who are going to be threatened by him and think that, oh, shit, he might come after me.
Yeah.
So now, at 15 years old, turning 16, he is running these streets as the main drug supplier. Now, he's basically like, what's his name? Johnny Depp in that movie, Snatch or whatever. Like, he is, I don't know if that's a movie, whatever.
No.
Where he's like the drug dealer that is getting big money because he's stealing these drugs. So what do you think he does? He sticks up these drug dealers, takes all their drugs, which you guys just saw, and then he sells them to another drug dealer at a lower price. He's doing this, and now he's the biggest drug dealer at only 16 years old.
Blow.
Yeah.
That's the movie.
At 16 years old, and this is all documented
I've
in...
never seen that.
It's a good movie.
This is all documented in police reports and stuff like that. At 16 years old, he is responsible for more than 30 homicides. At 16.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Isn't this a crazy story?
Did you say when you started how old he was when he was in the prison?
Yeah, I think it was 19 or 21, something like that.
Okay. All right. That helps.
This story gets fucking crazy. You guys think this is crazy? This is one of the best stories I've ever covered. I mean, I just love this shit. This is nuts.
You're
man.
like, this is why I do what I do.
He would do stuff like find a boyfriend that has obviously been beaten, that boyfriend's girlfriend or a pregnant girlfriend or something like that, or mistreating women, rapist, a lot of rapists, stuff like that. And he would seek them out. I mean, he's got all this money now. He's living large and he's focusing his time on seeking out rapists and pedophiles and killing them.
Kind of like a good vigilante story, you know?
Where do you think those 30 homicides came from? They're not all just drug dealers. They're just bad bad people, because he has this thing in his mind where, you know, it is justified in his in religious context where and remember I said his grandmother was into witch doctory and black magic. Where do you think this power, this aura around him of protection comes from?
That's a good point.
I mean,
Interesting.
remember at the time he was literally drinking ox blood and protected by this aura. He's literally going around like he's bulletproof. And fuck, he is he not?
So far.
I mean, shit.
When I say, quote, my enemies, I mean in a general way. My enemies are your enemies. They are all those who do harm to parents, who want to steal from the poor, and who want to do harm to the poor.
So this guy goes on this killing binge, and he says that he stopped. He's got well over 100, but he didn't count. He says, quote, I stopped because I believe that this number will never end. He started killing rapists and evil men in the city. And like, you remember Pablo Escobar was actually highly praised because of the stuff he was doing for the community.
Right.
He was making it safe for everyone. I know that sounds weird, but
Safe, but on his terms. Right.
exactly. But, you know, same thing. Pedrinho was making the streets safe. He was giving that money back to this little city. You know, you remember Pablo Escobar like ran for mayor and he got the majority of the votes, remember? Or whatever. I didn't do his story, but same shit. Like the community loved this guy, but he still had a lot of enemies.
Yeah, because he donated a lot of his money to like schools and hospitals and stuff.
Yeah.
And people.
Quote, at the time,
Love that.
quote, at the time, crooks, neighborhood thieves, and rapists were more afraid of me than the devil himself. That's what he said. He was living wealthy, but giving it all back to the community. He would kill landlords that were purposely hiking up their rent and taking advantage of the poor residents. He began giving the money to needy families and schools and doing community projects, building parks. I mean, he's living large now. At 16, he's basically rich. You know what I'm saying? So they put a squad together called the Death Squad. I know it sounds kind of like Hitlerish, but it was basically to take out drug dealers, and their main target was, guess who? Pedrinho, right? Just like a mobster. They wanted to take him out.
Yep. Bad for business.
They actually got him. At one point, he would have went out fighting dead. He wouldn't care about getting shot.
Yep.
He's been shot and stabbed plenty of times before. But they got him because they brought his mother into the equation.
Oh.
Emanuela, which was
And you don't mess with his mama.
is a pussy move to do.
Yeah.
They grabbed the mother, basically held her hostage. This is the police doing this. And that's when he was basically arrested. And
So were the police crooked? Because you would think, so I can understand.
pretty sure everyone's crooked now.
Right, like he's taking justice into his own hands and he's still killing people. I mean, technically the police would have the right to bring in the mom to question her or whatever, you know, from her, you know, he's a suspect in murder.
So
Technically.
he was finally arrested. Now, we're not going through all the people he's killed being a drug lord because that would be too much. But there was a big firefight between him and a whole squad of policemen with machine guns. Remember, he has a shotgun, all right? They brought his mother into it, trying to arrest him using his own mother, Emanuela, as leverage. At one point, he hears his mother scream. And that does it for him. He completely loses it. He takes his gun. He rushes at the cops. Now, there's a whole squad of cops. They start shooting. He shot twice. He rolls down a ravine. On the way down of rolling down this large ravine, he shot another 5 times. He shot in the leg, in the head, and both arms.
And he survives?
This is fucking crazy.
Whoa. I fell and rolled down the ravine, and with each turn that my body took down the hill, I felt a bullet pierce me. My eyesight darkened. I was hearing screams, cries, people saying, "Kill him, kill him." I couldn't defend myself. I searched for strength, but I couldn't find it.
So, or some of the police were saying, just kill him right there. But you know, there's always 1 or 2 good guys that are like, no, we need the justice system to do its job.
Right.
So they ended up arresting him instead. This brings us back to the prison. Now we're back to the prison. All right.
Okay.
We're a little bit before when he gets when his father gets there, but we're still back at the prison. He says, quote, I'm going with the other prisoners, or he doesn't need isolation. I'm a man and I'd rather die inside there as a man than join with these trash and rapists.
That makes more sense now, having like that comment,
Yeah.
given
Yeah.
that's who he was killing
Yeah.
for shits and giggles.
Right.
Yeah. He takes a spoon. Now keep in mind, half the population wanted him dead. Half the other population.
Wanted a monument for him.
Yeah. So he did have people who were going to protect him because he was so well known. And I mean, he killed, so the majority of the people he's killed was in prison through his years in prison, which got him well over 100, right? A lot of the isolated prisoners too, the rapists and stuff like that. But we're not going over that part.
Right.
So he's in general population. He gets a spoon with aluminum foil. He I don't know how long it takes, but he makes a knife. He also, and Nicole, you'll like this because this is fucking crazy. I literally thought this was fake.
Why just me? Why not Jen?
Well, I thought this wasn't a real thing, but it is.
Okay.
And it's fucking crazy, and I want to talk about it.
Okay.
All right. So he began learning martial arts in prison.
Oh my gosh. Does this have to do with Mortal Kombat?
No. But
Fatality.
if anyone watches Bob's Burgers,
Oh, yes.
that's Brazilian capoeira.
How are you
yeah.
not wearing that shirt today?
He learns Brazilian capoeira.
Wait, I thought
Which is
capoeira
a-
wasn't made up.
No, it's not. It's actually really interesting. It is just like in Bob's Burgers. It is a dance-like fighting martial arts.
Oh.
I can't believe you're not wearing your shirt today.
Dude, so this is a street capoeira fight. Now, this is a real thing. So in Brazil, the martial art, and I was looking in the history, it's actually really, really interesting. The slaves in Brazil who were enslaved by the Portuguese, I believe, at the time, they created this dance-like martial arts to escape. And it uses a lot of leg movements, and it's very acrobatic. You have to be able to do flips. You have to be able to, it's like breakdancing. Anyway, this is one of the street fights here. And this is crazy.
So I know I heard you listening to this in the sunroom the other day, and I remember like looking over because I can see your
Yeah.
laptop the way you were laying down from like my desk area in the dining room, and I remember watching and be like, I know he's been watching like boxing videos because he's been doing the VR.
Yeah,
Thank you. I'm like, what's the word? And I was like, what is he getting into? Like, I was like,
Dude.
he's down some rabbit hole in YouTube now.
This is so interesting because I didn't think this was a real thing, but it is, man. It's a real thing, and it's just like in Bob's Burgers. So this is a street fight.
They're fit.
So,
Yeah, no kidding.
So you see, so this isn't like a street fight like we have where they're trying to kill each other. As a poor population, they get in these groups. You see kids in the background, and they do the music, they clap, and it's rhythmic, right? Because it's a rhythm type martial arts.
Yeah.
But here it goes. Pretty cool, eh? Yeah. Here we go. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Isn't that crazy?
Whoa! How does one like? How
Watch
do you
this.
make your body do that?
Oh!
Oh my God!
How crazy is that shit,
That
eh?
is cool.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy, man?
Yeah.
So that's what it is, like flips.
This just
and-
made my day. I didn't know capoeira was a real thing.
It's a real thing, Brazilian capoeira. And you know, it's got a lot of kicks in it, obviously, because you're swinging your legs. But that
How do you like make your body do that? Like how it was, like
it's
goes
the
up
most
in the air.
acrobatic martial arts ever. But it is a real martial art, and they use it. They use it to, and it's supposedly extremely deadly because you think about you're swinging your foot and your leg around so fast. If you hit someone with your leg,
Yeah.
in the head, I mean, they're out, dude. But, you know, that's just is weird. I've never heard of that martial art before. You know, it's kind of crazy. There's videos of capoeira fighters fighting, like karate fighters and stuff, and it's kind of fun to see who wins, you know. But it's crazy, is it not?
Amazing.
So anyway, he started doing that, which like made my day, man. If you guys watch Bob's Burgers, you'll know what we're talking about. But
Best show ever.
yeah. So in prison, he would end up saying that he only had one friend because he learned his outside friends and all of his other friends outside, they died. So on the inside, quote, I was alone, just me and my knife, end quote, which I love that shit. That I
Kind of
was
sad though.
I was alone, just me and my knife. That knife was his best friend. I talked about the prison, how the food was so sour and people would get sick. Now, he also started snorting cocaine in prison. But He's in prison for, it was like, I think it was 140 something years. It was a long time for all 50 homicides before he got there. So remember the 30 he killed before 16. Now he's in prison at what, like 19. So he's killed 50 at least. That's how many they convicted him for. So he's in prison. He's learning capoeira. He is killing rapists in prison. And that is when he gets the news that none of the other inmates wanted to tell him. They all kind of avoided him that day that this news came out, because they would have a radio and the news in the city would come out. The warden was actually the one who had to pull him aside and said, listen, I don't want to tell you this. I know you're a man, and no one else wants to tell you this, but I'm just going to tell you how it is right now. Last night, your mother, Emanuela, was killed.
Oh no.
She was stabbed 21 times by your father.
Oh snap! You're right, Jen. He can come kill his dad.
By your father. Your father stabbed your mother, Emanuela, 21 times.
It's so excessive.
So I don't know if this is going to be after what we're going to talk about or before, but Pedrinho in prison gets to go see the body of his mother, and he's obviously handcuffed. And it was a big news because he is a high profile inmate.
Right.
Everyone knows who this guy is in Brazil. Like, you know who this guy is, prison or not. You know what I'm saying? All the media knows. So when his mother dies, there was cameras everywhere. He gets to go see the mother's body, and the media is there, the cameras are there, and he says something that someone catches. The media, the guards. He says the following: standing over his mother's coffin, over her dead body, looking into his mother's eyes, he says the following, quote, I will kill you, father, and from today you are not my father. I will eat your heart.
Ooh.
I swear it.
Like literally eat his heart.
That's what he said. Let's go back to where we started. Now things make more sense when he locks the guards into the cell. You know he's not going to harm these guards. The guards, they know they're safe. This guy is not here for them. They know he's going to come back and let them out of the cell, which he does. They know that. They respect him as a man. They also know that he's got some business to take care of.
Yeah.
So,
Yup.
and this is the end from what we're going to talk about. He locks these guards in there. And now you got to see, he makes his way to the isolation cell where his father just got there for killing his mother. The father sees him through the window and is thankful that, oh my God, I don't know what he's doing here, but there's no way he can get in. Like, I'm in an isolated cell. Pedrinho looks down at the big ring of keys and starts flipping them. The father starts to apologize. Pedrinho, I was drunk, all this stuff. Pedrinho finds the key and opens up the cell, and then Pedrinho walks towards his father, and this is what he does.
With the knife in my hand, I could only think of my mother, how she tried to defend herself. She fought for her life. I saw her all cut up and stabbed. Then I went after him. He didn't try to defend himself. As I promised, I counted 21 stabs. I cut his chest open and saw his heart still pulsing. That's when I cut it out and began chewing on it and spitting it out.
So that's where you get this guy. This is an illustration, but he cuts the heart out of his own father and chews it. He goes back in, he lets the guards out, and everyone's like not saying shit to him, and that was it. So Pedrinho Matador was the man that served the longest prison sentence ever. 42 years in prison. He was the biggest serial killer in the history of Brazil.
Wait, that was the longest sentence ever given out in Brazil? Was 42 years?
42 years in prison.
So no one has a life sentence there?
Pedrinho Matador, biggest serial killer in the history of Brazil, among the 5 top in the world. He was in one of the biggest prison massacres of all time. He claims that one day he's going to come after the, quote, maniac of the park, which was a rapist. And you ask, what is he doing now?
What is he doing now?
Well, I'll show you. He's a YouTube star. So he's talking about his father, and there are subtitles, but he is in a studio, a podcasting studio. And like I said, this is all in Portuguese, but there is English subtitles. And he is talking about his father, which we focused on. And there is that story about the heart. They ask him, him. He says he cut out a piece of his heart and chewed it. That's what I did. It was revenge. Crazy. So
That's
he
nuts.
he is out now, completely out, and I would never mess with the guy. But he is out, completely out. He's served his time, and you see him here. He's doing YouTube interviews and stuff like that. So what do you guys think?
I think it's interesting that he's already named another target. Like, have they done anything about that? Like, have they not taken that seriously? Or
No. I mean, this is not America, man. This is like, they don't want to fuck with him. Like, they know that he's going to do it. I mean, look at this guy. He's got his own, like, profile picture here. Look.
Damn.
I mean,
So is he like a full-time YouTuber, or does he just like go on interviews with
I
people?
think he's just doing interviews now, but I don't know. I mean, he is famous, so I think he is getting paid for his story. That's for sure. But crazy story, man. What do you guys think?
it's nuts.
I would totally watch a movie with this
for
plot.
sure. For sure.
Oh,
For sure.
so Natasha says he's a podcaster. So I guess he has a podcast. I don't know, because I don't.
We should ask him on the guest of our podcast.
No, he didn't speak English.
I have
Anyone we
friends that can
know?
translate.
Yeah.
I have a whole bunch of friends that can speak
All
Portuguese.
right.
He's a podcaster. So, and the book the autobiography, he does like end it saying that there's going to be a part 2. So I'm kind of waiting for that to come out. I guess it's going to talk more about the 100 or so people he killed. This story was focused mainly on the father.
And so because he's been charged for all of those crimes, like he's not necessarily confessing to anything new. So it's not.
Yeah. And
It's
this
like
is
the double. Oh, I don't know what their laws are, but like
Yeah.
double jeopardy.
Yeah, he did 42 years and crazy. I mean, he's just out saying, whatever. No one's going to mess with this guy, I mean, he's killed a lot of those people with his bare hands, he would talk about. He talks about, like, on his show, like, how hard it is to kill someone with your bare hands. Isn't that fucking crazy?
That is
He has
crazy.
killed over 100 people, and now he's a podcaster. What the fuck?
I mean,
Yeah, that's nuts.
I don't really know. Like, it's hard because I think there is this whole like the vigilante side to it. You're kind of like mad respect, dude.
No shit. This is fucking crazy.
But also he was like a drug lord, so like bad, and he killed a lot of people. But
which were all bad people.
I know. I'm just saying those are hard stories. It's one where you think like, okay, yes, they took matters into their own hands, but like hopefully they get a really light sentence for them.
42 years is pretty light. Well, he had 100. I think they were.
It's light for
Honestly-
United States standards, but that would be.
Let me tell you why.
That was the harshest sentence you said in Brazil's history.
No, that's the not harshest, but the longest prisoner they ever served. But I will say this: I'm pretty sure it was more of. I think we should just let him out because he's killing so many people in prison, all the pedophiles and stuff. Because he killed the majority of his kills were in prison, which we didn't talk about because his book didn't go into all the people he killed in prison.
Right.
That's in the second part, but. Which I don't know when it's going to be released. I mean, I don't know. But anyway, so I think they just let him out because he was killing too many inmates.
It's like you're kind of defeating the purpose of this whole operation, man. You can go free.
So it's now like, all right, you just go kill bad people outside. I mean, we got them taken care of in here. Let's just have you go and fucking kill people outside. I mean, because that's what he loves to do, apparently. I mean, I don't know. Fucking crazy, man. Mad respect, in my opinion. Dude, mad respect. I mean, fucking nuts, man. He's over his mother's coffin and says that I will eat out your heart. And what does he do? He fucking eats his dad's heart. Oh my God, dude. You got to be kidding me. That is a crazy story.
It is crazy.
And now he's a podcaster. So
yeah, there's that.
Anyway, all right. Well, I guess that's it. I hope you guys liked that. Let me know if you did or didn't.
That was a great
I very much
story.
enjoyed that.
This is the Talk Murder Me podcast. I'm sitting here with Jen and Nicole, and my name is John. I hope you guys really enjoy the story. Be sure to find us on any podcasting app and follow our YouTube channel for these weekly live streams every Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And until next time, good night, you lovely, lovely people.